We're talking about hypnosis.
When you use hypnosis combined with lifestyle changes, it does help with weight loss.
Things that we've seen before, movies that we watch, we have this preconceived idea of what hypnosis is. You're going to dangle a little thing, you're going to go tick tock. Does that happen?
So we do not use that specific technique.
This is not therapy, though. How is that different?
With hypnosis, we communicate with the subconscious.
This conversation just fits right in. So can you share with us some techniques?
I can teach a couple quick, easy techniques that people can start doing right away. So we can do that. Go ahead and close your eyes. You're going to imagine a number drifting into the mist or cloud in front of you.
It's fun to keep doing that. This is the Weigh In with Gina podcast. Today we're talking about hypnosis. Can it help you lose weight, overcome fears and anxiety, maybe help boost your confidence and performance? What about breaking bad habits and negative thought patterns? I have the perfect guest joining me today, Robbie Spier Miller. She is the director of Hypnosis Training Canada, a leading institute in hypnosis and NLP training. Hello, hi, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
So this is going to be an interesting conversation. I think when we think of hypnosis, we've all seen the people on the stage and someone's tricking them into doing this or that. We've heard about hypnosis with smoking and we're all like, does it work? How does it work? I mean, obviously there's a lot of science behind it. And this got me thinking about our members who are actively trying to work really hard to make real change in their lives, not just lose weight in a healthy way, a sustainable way, but in a way where they're working through issues and associations tied into food, their beliefs about themselves. Some people are working through traumas, and especially when it comes to habits. Right? Breaking those old habits, creating new habits that help us support the new lifestyle that we want to live and the changes that we've made. Maybe a little bit about what is hypnosis, and then where does your passion for it come from?
Okay. Well, I love, Gina, that you're trying to bring your audience the best resources you can because weight loss is a very multidimensional thing, as we all know. And so when we use hypnosis for weight loss, there is a lot of research that shows that when you use hypnosis combined with lifestyle changes, it does help with weight loss. So there is a lot of scientific research about that. When you talk about us improving our lives, if you imagine that when we're walking around, if we're holding on to things from the past that aren't serving us, if you think of it like carrying around something you don't need, right? So you're being, and excuse the metaphor, but you're being weighed down by stuff from the past or patterns that you've used to cope with life that aren't necessary anymore. That the more that happens, the harder it is to make healthy choices for our bodies. The harder it is for us to choose the salad over the chocolate cake. The harder it is for us to go and do our workout because we're being distracted or weighed down by these other things. So some people have things that happen in their past they're still holding on to. Some people simply have chosen a way to cope with life, and maybe they needed it at a certain time in their life, or it was the only option they saw. And now they can have other choices. So with hypnosis, we help people do that. And how it works is that our subconscious mind it's where we store everything, our emotions, our memories, all of our habits. And so if you said to somebody, why don't you just relax? That doesn't work, right? It'll probably do the opposite, even though rationally, they might know, it would be a good idea to relax. That's not going to help them relax. I've worked with a lot of people who are medical doctors or nutritionists or naturopaths in weight loss, and we all know what to do, but they especially know rationally what to do. And so hypnosis is a way to communicate with the subconscious mind where all of these things are located. So it's an opportunity to let go of old routines or patterns or old habits, and then add some new ones that are serving us for what our goals are now.
I love that. I noticed you are the director of Hypnosis Training Canada. It deals with hypnosis and NLP. Is that neuro linguistic programming? And is that
That's
part of hypnosis or is that something different?
So, NLP is a collection of techniques that help us communicate very effectively with the subconscious. So, we really weave together hypnosis and NLP. Think of it like we have this big toolbox, and we
Mm.
have a lot of things in that toolbox from both of those areas. So, NLP is kind of a subset of hypnosis, or it complements hypnosis.
Okay, so if someone has recurring, for lack of a better word, bad habits, they keep falling back into bad habits, or they have a pattern of thought that's very negative when I get on the scale. Would hypnosis, is it tricking the brain? Is it retraining the brain? Is it bringing awareness to these things that we're doing? Like, how exactly does it work?
Yeah. So look at it like this. If you, whatever you focus on, you get more of. So if I say to you, don't look at that purple striped elephant over there, you're going to look at the purple striped elephant. You can't not see it, right?
Yeah.
So if
Mhm.
somebody's getting on the scale and they go, oh no, who knows what, if I've gained weight today, or oh no, I don't like the way I look or feel, then they're
Mm.
going to be reinforcing that, and they're going to be attracted to things that add to that image of themselves.
Right.
So, with hypnosis, one of the things that we can do is help people see an image of how they want to be, and they want to learn how to match their mood and their actions to that image. So, if they imagine themselves as already being slim and fit, and then
Mhm.
we use hypnosis to help them reinforce that in their subconscious, and including the actions to get slim and fit, then it's easier to take the actions.
So, is this something that I'm doing with someone like you one on one? Is there homework that you give me? Are there things that, for example, our members can do on their own that can help with this as well?
Yeah, so I can today, if it's all right with you, I can teach a couple quick, easy techniques that people can start doing right away. So we can do
Yes.
that. My experience with weight loss has been that it really, for it to be effective, we want to do a more comprehensive, customized program. Some people come one on one, and there are things to do in between, but a lot of it is things that you would be doing anyway in your everyday life. You're just shifting the way you're doing them. There
Mm.
are people who come for group classes. So we do a lot of group training here. We have a school and a training facility here in Burlington, Ontario. And so we have groups who come to learn together. And the beauty of that is for people who like that social support, it's great. And they learn a lot about themselves by watching the other people in the class and learning and practicing what they're learning with other people. So depending on the person, some people want the customized one-on-one version. I've personally worked with thousands of clients over almost 20 years. This year, it's 19 years that I've been doing this. And I train hypnotists to build these types of clinics. So we have about 20 hypnosis clinics that have been established under the system. And I mentor people into building that. So we do have a whole directory of clinics as well.
Okay, I would love for you to share some techniques. But first, I want to get over the myth, and maybe it's not, that I'm going to sit in front of you. You're going to dangle a little thing. You're going to go tick tock, watch the sliding thing. You're getting sleepy. Does that happen? Can you do that?
Well, if you wanted to, it can.
Is
Because
that
ultimately, we do whatever the person needs. So everybody needs something different. Hypnosis is, if you think about driving your car, it's called highway hypnosis, which means
mm,
that you find yourself sitting in your driveway. You don't remember what you did for the last 8 blocks. Somehow you made it home. When
mhm.
that's happening, maybe you're daydreaming or you're singing along to your music, and so you just don't even pay attention, but it's pretty amazing that your subconscious mind knows how to take you home.
Yeah.
So that is a hypnosis like state, right? Advertising uses hypnosis. It's repetition and fixation. So when you talk about, the pocket watch, that's
Mhm.
fixation and repetition, right? So we do not use that specific technique. Realize that when people come here, they come because they want to make a change.
Mm.
So hypnosis is happening anyway. It's a natural human ability. We all do it all the time. advertisers have spent billions of dollars researching what helps people make changes and make decisions. And that's why they use hypnosis, because they found that that is what motivates people. So if you think about an ad, like Gina, can you remember an ad for maybe food or a drink from when you were a kid?
Sure. The McDonald's ad with the song that goes along with it. My menopause brain is not bringing it up now, but
The one with the menu where it lists like all the menu
quarter
items?
pounder, dana,
Yeah,
dana, banana, na, na,
yeah.
na. Yeah, yeah,
French
yeah.
fries, icy Coke, quick,
Cakes.
yeah, thick
Yes.
steak, sundaes, and apple pies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
one. And I must have
So
been like 7 or something like that. But yes,
right.
okay.
It was decades ago. You
Yeah.
still remember it, right?
Mhm.
So it's in your subconscious mind. You can access it. You probably haven't thought of it since you were 7.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't
So
believe I'm remembering it because it's been way forever. Yes.
yeah, so it's pretty amazing. So that's good if the memory helps you, but if the memory is in your way, we want to change it. And that's why hypnosis is so powerful, because it helps us access that parts of our mind so we can change it. Yeah.
I find that really interesting because I for hokey, for lack of a better word, people might think hypnosis is like a hokey or not real. Yet here are these big companies spending billions of dollars on it. I find that really fascinating and really interesting. Okay, so with the techniques you're talking about, that's to get someone in a calm state, in a state where they're ready to be reflective, or I would imagine to do some work. So what would that look like? I'm come to you. Am I sitting in front of you, and then what? Like what?
Well, in the office, we have very comfortable recliners. So you
Okay.
would be in a recliner, and we would be framing the session so that you would know what to expect. And there's a whole bunch of experiences, interesting experiences that you will have that help your mind get into that hypnotic state. And from a brainwave point of view, if we hooked you up to one of those brainwave machines, your brainwave would fluctuate in, it's called alpha and theta. So those are certain brainwave frequency ranges, and which is the same brainwave state that you would be in if you were meditating. So the state of mind is similar to meditation. And the difference is that with hypnosis, we use that state of mind to communicate with the subconscious so that we can make changes. So, yeah. So some people are worried they're going to reveal their secrets or they're going to
Yes.
do something against their will, or right. So there's sometimes concerns about that, but I can't make anybody do anything against their will. It's it's just something that if you don't agree with the suggestion, people will just reject it, and so that's just what happens. So people say, well, like if I could make people rob a bank, then or if I could control the stock market or something,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would, my life would definitely be different than it is now.
Yeah, I think there's a couple
um,
movies that are made about that out there somewhere. I do
yeah.
remember I participated in something somewhere where I was asked with a group of people to go on stage, and we did. I think it was in university. It was in university. It was one of those
Mhm.
frosh week things, and
Yep.
I got up on the stage, and we had to act a certain way or do whatever. And I remember doing it while I was doing it, and then afterwards, I was like, "What?" And like don't remember any of it. So I think it's from things that we've seen before, movies that we watch. We have this preconceived idea of what hypnosis is, but you're making it seem very real and realistic with sort of your body just being in a state and being able to tap into your subconscious is basically what's happening.
It is. And realize I do perform stage hypnosis and I teach it as well.
Oh,
I teach
okay.
classes so other people can learn to perform it. And stage
Oh,
hypnosis is quite fascinating because that group experience and the things that happen on stage give you like a window into how our subconscious minds work. So you really want to like be curious about that. It's a lot of fun. But it's pretty amazing the kinds of things that people do when they're hypnotized on stage. So at the clinic, we're simply using that state of mind to help you get your goals, right? We have an
yeah.
outcome. So the outcome might be weight loss or stress management or better relationships or more confidence or self-esteem. So we're going to be using it in that direction. Yeah.
Okay, great. So can you walk me through some of the things that are said while I'm sitting in a comfy chair, and then And then what? Am I thinking about a certain thing? Do you start with like, hey, weight loss, when did your journey start? Like, what's the process for that? What might it look like for someone who's coming to see you specifically for weight loss?
Well, let me do a little demo to give you an idea. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So in my hand here, I have this very sour, very juicy lemon. So in
Yes.
a moment, I'm going to take a bite out of this lemon, and I'm sure, Gina, you remember what that's like.
You don't even have to take a bite. My saliva glands are already going. Just as soon as you held it up, I was like,
Yeah.
woo, okay.
Yeah. And my lips are really chapped today. So anyway, I'm not
Woo.
looking forward to this, but here it goes. Oh, yeah, that was really sour.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I saw you were puckering right along with me.
Uh-huh.
And so you were responding to that even though you didn't bite into the actual lemon.
Right. Correct.
So you're having a physiological response to this, to just watching me do this.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yes.
works similarly if we see the chocolate bar at the checkout aisle,
Mm.
right? So we're
Mhm.
having where we see an ad on TV for food, or so we're having these physiological responses and emotional responses to things that we're witnessing in life, right? So that's suggestion. And
Yes.
so what we're doing here is we're very forward focused. And what I mean by that is we're not digging up people's pasts. It's true that sometimes people need to let go of their past, they need to heal up. So we have very gentle ways in hypnosis to help people with that without having to
Mm.
revisit the whole story from a neuroscience point of view. And there are approaches in hypnosis that very much believe in revisiting the past. There's a technique called regression,
Yeah.
which we do not do here. But it is a lot of hypnotists do love it. But it's kind of like a soap opera from a neuroscience point of view. It's really not a good idea because if you're reliving a traumatic situation or a negative situation, you're actually reactivating the neural pathway of that experience in your brain.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't
Mhm.
want that to happen. We want that neural pathway to just kind of fade away. And we want to
Yes.
build new neural pathways that are about how we want to live now. So we have very gentle techniques that help people see things from their past differently, forgive and let go of them. And once they've cleaned that up, we help them focus on their future. But sometimes what happens is people have what we have this term that's called secondary benefit, or it's also called a hidden agenda. So, for example, I had this client once who lost a bunch of weight, looked amazing. She was very beautiful. And she was going to a wedding. And when she went to the wedding, everybody was just amazed and giving her tons of compliments. And then after, she immediately started eating all kinds of junk because she felt very pressured by this, both in terms of having people be attracted to her and being worried about cheating on her partner. Also, she had a fear of scrutiny because she was worried that if she did gain the weight back, what would people think? And sometimes people don't want to be, if they look fabulous, people are paying attention to them. If they gain weight and they don't look as fabulous, they're kind of invisible. And some people prefer that. They don't want to be the center of attention. So
Yes.
she started immediately eating junk food. And so we had to help her resolve that because she had this emotional benefit she was getting and safety she was getting from being overweight. So these kinds of themes are very, very common with people who want to lose weight, where there's something else going on, and if we don't resolve that, then they might lose the weight, but they'll put it back on very quickly because their subconscious thinks it's safer to be overweight.
And how did you get to that place with this person? Was it a series of asking them questions? Was like, how did they get to that realization to be able to start to move forward on that?
Well, she was we do multi-session programs here because we need to follow up with people and make sure that it's integrated in their life and it's ecological, meaning that it fits their general life, kind of like the
Yeah.
concept of ecology and nature.
Mhm.
So she was coming here for a program at that time. And so when we were checking in, there was a big change in her behavior after going to this wedding. So it was
Right.
pretty easy to see what was happening, right? I can take guesses at what happens with people, or sometimes because of what they're learning here, they become more aware of what they're doing. So, there are a lot of themes that we see over and over again. So when we're working customized with a person, I can take a pretty educated guess about what's happening, even if they don't realize.
Right.
Yeah,
So this is not therapy, though. It's hypnosis. And how is
that's
that
right.
different?
So we're really adding skills. So look at it like when people, for example, want to lose weight, they want to learn how to live a healthy, fit lifestyle. And there are tons of people in the world who already do live a healthy, fit lifestyle. So
Mhm.
we're helping them clean up whatever they need to from their past or their old habits to free them to do that. And then the big focus after that is modeling the people who are already good at it. And if they
Mm.
simply look at things the way those people do and match their emotions to that way of living, it's a lot easier to take the actions that fit. So we're helping them learn how to do that. So we're not digging into their past. We're not, if somebody has a mental health diagnosis, they need to go see their doctor. This is not for that.
Right.
But unfortunately, many people have gone through traumatic experiences in their life. Like it's a huge proportion of the population. And our
Mhm.
subconscious will have this reaction because our subconscious mind's primary job is to keep us safe. So if there's something that's perceived as dangerous, we're going to have a really intense reaction to that that's going to stick so that we can keep ourselves safe. And, there's this thing called one trial learning. So like if you touch a hot stove, you remember not to touch that hot stove again.
Yes.
So that's the kind of learning people often have when they go through those really intense experiences. So as long as the person is functioning like reasonably regularly in life,
Mhm.
they can have some help to let go of those things. But sometimes people do need to see somebody who is a licensed track therapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you just said there about kind of emulating what you see people who maybe you aspire to be like, is that sort of where that concept of like you become like the five most people you spend your time with, or like you want to be in the room full of people who you aspire to be? Is there some science there around that?
Well, you have hypnotists all around you in your life. That's the truth, right? Because it's repetition and fixation. So the people you spend the most time with, they're going to have they will have some hypnotic impact on you simply because of
Mm.
that. So we one of the things we help our clients do is learn how to block out any unwanted sabotage. Sometimes it comes from themselves, and sometimes it comes from people around them. For example, if somebody has a partner and their partner is worried about them losing weight because they're worried that now all kinds of people are going to be attracted to them, they might
Happens.
start all of a sudden bringing home big tubs of ice cream,
Mm.
right?
Right.
So, or we have friends who are, they're also overweight and we're losing weight and we're in habits of maybe going out to restaurants and drinking a lot and, the kinds of activities that make us gain weight. And then if they feel, sometimes the people who are watching you lose weight feel left out or they feel, self-conscious that they're not making the changes. So they can be like crabs in a bucket trying to pull you down. So we really help people block out that outside sabotage so you can still love your friends or your romantic partner. You could bond with them in new ways and you can still be
Mm.
healthy and fit.
That's interesting. I had a friend who was like that, and I kept thinking, she just doesn't want me to be happy. She can't stand if I'm more successful than her. And it's so hard to believe that you don't want to think that way about people. But I guess you can't stop people from being that the way that they are. So it's you teach people to learn what they need for themselves in those situations.
That's right. And when people are behaving that way, it's really that they're in their own pain.
Mm.
So they happen to be, it looks malicious, but they're really there in a lot of pain. And so that's how
Yeah.
they're, dealing with that. So it's when those kinds of things happen, it's really helpful to see that so that you're not angry at them. It's, you want to, send them love because they need to heal up.
Yeah, that's a big conversation in the group when people work so hard to lose weight and people in their lives have said to them, "Oh, if you just lost weight or why don't you lose weight?" Or and now those same people are either saying nothing or they're like, "Stop losing weight," or
Mhm.
it's very difficult sometimes for people to understand it's the other people's issues, but what they're left to deal with sometimes isn't easy. That's a big topic of conversation. Okay, so can you share with us some techniques? Can you
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good. So the first one is that we really want to look at it like this. The definition of a compulsion is associating pleasure and pain with the same activity. So let's say somebody is really into eating chocolate, right? And they love the taste, but it's making them gain weight or it's hurting their health. And so they're associating pleasure and pain with the same activity. So what we want to do is you will always crave whatever you've been getting. So if somebody's used to eating chocolate, they're going to be craving the chocolate. We just expect that. That's normal. So sometimes people get mad at themselves for craving it. And I can't believe I just ate that chocolate or whatever. But it's kind of like going over a bell curve. Right. And we need to get over to the other side to where we're really embracing the new way of life. So I'm
Okay.
going to teach a little technique to help people train themselves to do that. And
Okay.
realize as we learn this, you will need to practice because to change a habit, it takes at least 21 days, often more like 3 to 6 months of consistently doing it, right? But
Okay.
what we're going for here is we want to associate only pleasure with being slim and fit and looking great and feeling great. And we want to associate only pain with eating the junk.
Okay. Seems
Okay.
extreme. That sounds extreme, but I'm here. I'm listening. Okay.
Well, okay, for example, like I can't eat gluten. If I eat gluten, I have arthritis and I feel it like right away, right? So do I love things like bread and pizza? Yes, pizza was like my favorite food, right? But I know that it hurts me. So I train myself to be very clear about that, even though it does taste delicious, right? I'll admit that it tastes delicious, but I'm really willing to look at it in a way that makes it super easy to let it go.
And I would imagine it kinda has to be it's gotta get your attention. It's gotta be a little bit extreme. It's gotta be a little bit memorable, just like people who will, treat themselves with something, whether it's ice cream, a cookie, chips, they feel like they deserve the treat, but then they mentally berate themselves afterwards and then actually punish themselves, starving themselves or go work out because they've had this thing that's supposed to be a pleasure thing when reality, mostly it's bringing them pain. So, okay, I
Mhm.
totally understand that. Okay, I'm ready.
So, okay, so I'm just going to add one more point to that because this is important. Where
Okay.
when people are doing this, a lot of our weight loss clients need to change their relationship to learning itself because they often get angry at themselves or they feel guilty or ashamed when really it's just learning, right? Like
Yeah.
for me, if I eat gluten and then I notice I have arthritic pain, that's learning where my body is talking to me,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
But
we're big
often,
on that. Yeah, we
yeah,
actually have a learning strategist who comes in because it's really is about unlearning and relearning and learning new things and rewiring or reprogramming how your body's going to function physically, but more so your mind. So that's why I'm totally into this conversation today.
yeah,
I'm loving it. Okay.
great. Okay, good. So, Gina, go ahead and close your eyes, and the audience can do the same thing. So, put your hands flat on your thighs, uncross your legs.
How'd you
Yep.
know my legs were crossed?
Just a guess.
Okay.
So, go ahead
Okay.
and close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. And with your eyes closed, roll your eyeballs just a little bit upward towards the ceiling. Good. And as you roll your eyeballs upward towards the ceiling, relax your eyelids as much as you can. Good. And as you do that, I'm going to start from counting from 100 backward out loud. And with each number that I say, you're going to imagine a number drifting into the mist or cloud in front of you. So go ahead and start with 100 and watch the number 100 drift into the mist or cloud. And with each number, take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Good. And now see the number 99 and watch it drift into the mist or the cloud. That's right. Good. And see the number 98 drifting. And if people are counting faster, that's okay. You can just keep counting backwards. Everybody goes at a different pace. That's right. And Gina, what number are you at now?
97.
Good.
97.
All right. So 96, see 96 drifting into the mist or the cloud. That's right. And you can go a little faster now. So see 95. And 94. Just watch that number drift into the mist or cloud in front of you. And with each number, you let go even more. 93. That's right. Letting go even more now. 92. Watching the numbers drift away. Yeah. And Gina, you can go ahead and wrap the rest of the numbers in a package. So just see them wrapping in a big package. All the rest of the numbers in a package. And once they're in the package, just imagine just letting them go into the mist or the cloud. So all the numbers drift away. Are the numbers gone now?
Yep.
Good. All right. So now I want you to imagine that in front of you, you see a picture of yourself, slim and fit and healthy, feeling great, looking great, the exact weight and size you want to be, knowing that nothing tastes as good as being fit and healthy feels, and taking action on that every day and moving your body every day, because your body is where you happen to be and your body is meant to move. And so it feels good to give yourself exactly what your body wants and needs. And as you see that picture, really feel how it feels in your body and hear how it sounds, and notice emotionally, how does it feel to be living your life this way? And once you can picture that very clearly, go ahead and imagine stepping into that picture and really take it on. And know that this is just who you are now. And so every day you just take the actions that match that way of living. And if there are listeners who can't completely imagine this, you might want to imagine someone else who's already really good at this, and imagine how they interact with life, how they look, how they feel, and watch them living their life this way. And once you can see that clearly, take them out of the picture and imagine putting yourself in the picture. And that you can simply learn how to do this too. And so, Gina, as you can see that this is totally doable for you and it's what you really prefer, and you're willing to simply surrender into taking the actions to live this way, then you can go ahead and open your eyes.
So I didn't want to open my eyes. I just wanted to keep doing that. I just wanted to keep doing that.
Yeah, it feels really good. So that gives you a teeny weeny little sample of, we obviously do a lot more elaborate things in the office, and it's very customized to each person, but that gives you a little taste, and anybody can do that. Simply the act of closing your eyes and rolling your eyes up and breathing helps bring you into that state of hypnosis. And it gets easier with time. The more you practice it, the faster and easier you go there.
We talk to our members a lot about what is their why, and then sort of visualize. If it's like, oh, I just want to be healthy, what does that mean? Right? Does that mean like being able to play with your grandchildren, or, like what exactly does that look like and feel like to you? And we talk a lot about visualization. We talk about how do you want to look and feel a year out? And I think sometimes we do that. We look up and we're like, okay, that's how I want to feel. But people don't take the time to get into that place and space where they can truly feel it, truly sense it, truly be it. And I think this is that. It's just, this isn't something you can, it's not what you get through writing. It's not through visualization. It's kind of like visualizations, but it's so much more than that. It's getting into a state where you can actually feel it, be it, know it, already have it.
Yes.
That's a game like that must really help with people's belief system that they can do it.
Yeah, it does. It helps a lot. And sometimes we need to help people in other ways because sometimes people aren't willing to go there. Or they'll say, oh, I can't see it. Right.
Mm,
And sometimes they're worried about heartbreak or being disappointed or feeling like a fool because they've tried all kinds of diets and failed and they're worried that they'll do it again. So there are various reasons why people aren't willing to see their future, but we really want to play with that. And people can do it even with like daydreaming, or it is really important to practice because if you practice it, sometimes people don't even go there because they've never seen themselves as then. I've had clients who they say when they look back on their pictures from when they were 20, they realize that they were in great shape, but at the time
right.
they thought they were overweight, right? So
Yeah,
I
it's so
think with
true.
women, that's often true. It's often
Mhm.
true.
It is.
And so no matter what weight we are, sometimes we don't see ourselves as thin, even if we are. And so we want to really reinforce and practice that. And the more, the better. So remember, lots of repetition. Repetition is the mother of all learning. So sometimes we need to choose on purpose to do it.
It's all about our intention. I like that, to choose
Mm.
on purpose.
Yeah. And sometimes people get stuck in their mind where they say, I should do this or I want that. And they talk to themselves about it. And the language center of your brain is the opposite part of your brain of where hypnosis happens. So we want to be
Mm,
in our senses, what we see, feel, hear, smells, or tastes, right? Or feeling of energy, all of our emotions. So we want to choose the senses and the emotions in the direction of what we want, not what we want to get rid of. So when somebody says,
mm.
I want to lose weight, they're actually thinking of themselves as overweight. They're not seeing themselves as slim and fit.
So it's not really losing the weight, it's the how you wanna feel after. It's the result, not the actual losing of the weight part.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know how they used to have signs up on the highway that said, don't drink and drive?
Mhm,
And now it says, I think it says something like drive sober, arrive alive. Okay. It was
mhm.
smart that they changed that because when they said don't drink and drive, they're having people imagining themselves drinking and driving. Right?
Right, yeah,
Not a good idea. So at
yeah,
some point they saw that and they changed it. Right. So we want to see what we do want, not what we want to get rid of. It is
right.
very natural that people come from a place of fear because we want to protect ourselves, right?
Yeah,
We're wired for survival. And so we'll tend to notice fearful things many more, like they'll be way magnified compared to positive things.
mhm.
So we want to really reinforce the positive and what we want so that we can actually focus there because our subconscious and our nervous system are actually primed to do the opposite for us.
Well, I love this conversation. Thank you. Honestly, thank you so much. Is there anything missing from the conversation that you feel would be a big takeaway for our listeners? Anything to round out the conversation? There's probably so much more
There
that we
is so
could.
much. Yeah. Yeah. I think that the general direction of this is that the better you're functioning in your life, the easier it is to be slim and fit.
Mm,
And the more tools we have to manage the stresses of life, because they happen, the more positive tools we have to do that, the easier it is to maintain a healthy weight and have a better life. So, being slim and fit and healthy goes with having a good life in general. It's all a package. And so, when we have clients come in, we're really looking at that overall picture for people so that they can have their life be, it's never perfect, but as good as possible. And then it supports them in keeping a healthy, fit lifestyle.
Well, we always say it's the things that you are learning while you are losing, the things that you are working
Mm.
through, and the thoughts and the feels give you great insight into the things that you need to work on while you are losing. That's the skills and the tools that you need to be able to maintain. And then we have a maintenance program. People work so hard to lose their weight, they finally get there, and then they have issues with trust or
Mhm.
feeling worthy or trying to embrace who they are now and, their relationships with themselves or their relationships with other people. And we want to get them to a place where they're calm around food, where they're in tune to your body's needs, where they can trust when to eat, what to eat, how much, and also understanding that you have to continue to support the changes that you've made. And I like that we approach it from a variety of angles. And this conversation just fits right in. I believe it's like the same thing said, but in a different way. And because everyone learns different, I love that there is support for the mindfulness piece
Mhm.
for people, especially if you're having a hard time thinking about your why or visualizing, or you don't even know, you just know you want to lose the weight, but you don't have a vision for what that's going to look like and feel like. There is people like yourself that can help them with that. I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, and the why is so important because everything we do is driven by emotion. So if we're
Mhm.
really passionate about our why, it's going to be on our radar and it's a lot easier to take action on it. So for people who aren't sure of their why, that's a really important thing to explore.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation. I am looking forward to it. You got to come back. We have to build on this conversation for sure. You can reach out to Robbie at hypnosistrainingcanada.com. Robbie Spier Miller. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for inviting me.